Darren, in your career?
I think we've seen just about everything. We've seen motorhomes. We've seen big rigs. We've seen ambulances. A number of years ago, probably close to 30 years ago in San Diego, we actually saw a tank. So we've seen virtually any kind of vehicle that a person could operate. We've seen them in these pursuits. The sad part is that a number of years ago, the sentences for these pursuits was increased to help deter them. But in recent years, with some of the new laws that we've seen, there's not a lot of penalty for this, and so it's not a deterrent. It's sad times, because we see even just this last week where these things do end up in very, very serious crashes, sometimes fatal, and innocent people are the ones that lose their lives in these crashes, many times not the suspects.
And happens so frequently here in the Los Angeles area. You know what, Darren? We actually, and I missed this, and I don't know if it was just because it happened so fast, but let's go ahead and play back some of the video. Watch. This bus avoided a spike strip from earlier on your right-hand side of the screen. So maybe that's why the officers sped ahead. Yeah, sure enough, parked on the side of the road there, had laid down a spike strip, but the driver, the suspect, avoided it. So swerved around the spike strip that they attempted to lay down there in the freeway. And talk about a dangerous tactic. I mean, that officer had to run out into the lanes of traffic, and then, as we've seen, Darren, you say, I mean, it's within mere seconds that they have to get out of the way.
Yeah, and we've seen it, unfortunately, more than we'd like to, where the officers have been struck and killed by this. We had one here on KCAL probably about 5 or 6 weeks ago, where the suspect actually swerved towards the officer, the deputies that were trying to lay out the spike strip. So the spike strips are very, very dangerous to deploy. But we do what we can to try and end these things without anybody being hurt.
Yeah, maybe we can pull up that video again. I mean, it's because we were so far back a little bit to see that spike strip, but at least they're attempting and not letting this go on for hours, as it very well could. So we're going to pull up this video again. So watch this. He passes the officer, and then I don't know, Darren, can you make out where the spike strip had been across just a few of the lanes then?
It's probably over the number 1 and 2 lane, and he swerved over. The good thing is that he did not lose control when he made that evasive maneuver. I had seen that SUV pass in the carpool lane, and then it just all of a sudden appeared there. But so it just did not make it far enough out into the roadway for the suspect to go over it. But,
and they take the chance that other drivers won't drive over the spike strip, or I guess that's the risk.
Well, they pull it, they retract it as soon as they do. So they try and get ahead. Where in a situation like this, where we saw very little traffic there, they'll get it out there, and as soon as the suspect goes over it or avoids it, they pull it back and retract it real quick. Because the other thing is, you don't want the officers to hit it and suffer damage to their vehicles and no longer be able to pursue. So
Right. And that would cause a whole nother slew of problems. Exactly. And you guys practice, I'm sure, constantly, daily. How often do these officers have to go through all of these police chase scenarios?
We have all of the annual training for evasive driving techniques, emergency driving techniques. Supervisors oftentimes, in slow times, especially on graveyards, they'll take their guys out and do impromptu trainings with it. Obviously not with pit maneuvers, but with spike strips and those types of devices. So it's an ongoing type of thing. And there was a famous commander from the Highway Patrol, Gordon Graham, he's a liability expert, and he talks about those types of events that are, high-risk, low-frequency events and how they need to train. So the CHP has done a great job about training their people on these, high-risk, low-frequency events.
So this suspect has now gone from the 405 to the 14 into the Lancaster-Palmdale area. And on top of this, I guess at the moment, we're not seeing any rain, hail, or extreme winds that can cause these high-profile vehicles to just topple over. We have a winter storm that's approaching that we're talking about. But again, at the moment, not seeing any kind of weather to make it dangerous, not only for the officers, but then maybe for the other drivers out there on the road, in the way of this CHP chase. So that's kind of something else we're watching in terms of the weather and how it's going to impact just our driving conditions. But again, at the moment, it's dry, so officers are able to still, safely, I guess, as safely as they can, continue to follow the suspect.
Yeah, those are variables that will come into play should the weather change and the weather shift. And as you said, that the winds are not necessarily as much of an issue for the police vehicles, but for a high-profile vehicle like this, could certainly be an issue, especially with control at these high speeds and when he's making maneuvers to try and avoid other vehicles and/or the attempts by the CHP to stop the pursuit, spike strips, etc.
Right. I'm looking up the company. We've been reporting that it's this. The name on top of the party bus was Top Dog Limo Bus, and just according to their website, based out of the San Diego area, they have this big fleet of all of these Top Dog limo buses. They have the smaller ones, and this appears to be their largest limo bus that they have in their fleet. And in fact, this was actually on a call, or this had been reserved for someone in Pacific Beach when all of this happened.
Well, hopefully the company's been able to facilitate getting those clients transported where they needed to be without too much of an inconvenience here. But oftentimes some of these buses also have, dash cams and video cameras inside that will show the occupants, et cetera. I'm wondering if there's any way that the company can, their webcams log in and see what's going on inside the vehicle.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're right. These not only have the radios or the work cell phones, but yeah, maybe some video cameras as well. They mentioned some of their driver. I'm just scrolling through the Top Dog website, some of their drivers and all the reviews from their past clients. And so just, at this point, I guess it's pretty clear that there was no party going on inside. It wasn't like this was filled with people yet. That the suspect saw this just maybe as a crime of opportunity. If the door had been left open, the keys in the ignition as maybe the driver had stepped out. And we are still waiting, Darren, to hear how that driver is doing, the victim in all of this, who's carjacked or just caught by surprise when he came out, and the limo bus was just gone.
Yeah, I would think that by now the CHP should have that information. It's probably been relayed to the ground units, even though the officer that called in didn't have it when he was on the line with you. But they should most definitely have that information by now. The other thing with these pursuits that go on for a long time is the helicopter flight time is usually about 2 hours. So fortunately, the CHP has offices all over the state of California, and the mutual aid system in Southern California is very robust. So should this helicopter need to land and refuel, they're probably already talking about getting a relief airship to take over for them while they need to do that.
Right, planning ahead, because who knows how long this is going to go on, and maybe they'll attempt that spike strip again. Okay, speaking of,
yeah, I thought I just saw a unit on the left shoulder there, and wondering if they did try it.
Well, let's go ahead. We're going to pull up the video. We've now highlighted. We've had a few minutes because where I'm watching on all of our monitors here in the studio where I'm sitting, it was hard for me. Okay. I'm leaning forward now. I can see it's a small little line there, right next to the officer's car. But like you said, yeah, he was able to get right around it, and was able to keep driving.
Yeah, it seems like the speeds are increasing now as well a little bit as he's passing vehicles that we hadn't seen that happening as much.
Okay, 14 in Acton, but it looks like he got off, or is that just how empty no, that's just how empty the freeway is. Okay, so he's still on the 14 now in Acton.
Yep, still going.
Passing a larger bus there on the left. Yeah, it's just if this. And we always wonder if this suspect is familiar with the area, if he has a destination in mind where he's going to try to get out and run, or, they sometimes, in those smaller trucks or cars that have been stolen, they park in parking structures, which is very unfortunate, and they're able to just kind of escape into the maze of the parking lot or parking structure, and police have to go in, make a perimeter, and shut it down and try to find the suspects. But in this, I think that's going to be much more difficult to try to jump out and hide.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you just saw that, Jasmine, where the suspect went around a vehicle that was in the carpool lane, but that vehicle was signaling to move over and then did move to the right. And that's one of those dangerous things that you talk about when the units are approaching and people can pull in front of them. And that's, again, why those units are sitting back, sitting in the number one lane in the carpool lane to warn people and get them out of the way and not being so tied up on the suspect like this. But we are seeing higher speeds now than what it appeared to be earlier.
Yeah, sure enough. Yeah, it definitely seems to be picking up speed here and flying past a lot of those other drivers. So that's also concerning. The Top Dogs Limo Buses website says, this has been a long-standing company in San Diego for more than 30 years. I'm not sure if they've ever had anything like this happen to them before, but they've had these luxury limo buses for 30 plus years. So a company well known, it seems, in the area, and a lot of the drivers, they say, have been with them a long time as well. So just, it's just unfortunate, obviously, for the company to now be dealing with this. And I again, hope that driver's okay.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm sure that we should have that information soon, the status of the driver, whether he was released, whether he is on the bus, et cetera. You see the unit passing another one there. We might be going into a different CHP jurisdiction now, and they're transitioning lead units. We see that frequently when these pursuits go on for a long time and move from CHP office, jurisdictional office to jurisdictional office, et cetera, where they'll pass it off to the next jurisdiction or the next office.
Oh, okay. And they do that seamlessly, obviously, but other patrol cars will just get in line and then take it from there?
Yep. Whenever they cross into the next office area, there'll be units waiting for them. They'll be up on the freeway, probably, continuing to move forward. And as they pass, it's just almost like a relay race where you pass the baton to the next unit.
Okay. I'm going to update our viewers really quickly. Sergeant Darren Wyatt with us live on the phone right now. The CHP chase of a stolen party bus out of San Diego. And we just saw a few minutes ago that the bus here, the driver, the suspect, was able to avoid a spike strip. Whether CHP will make another attempt, yet to be seen, but they are trying to bring this to an end, not just let the suspect run out of gas. That could stretch into hours. So what we know right now is stolen out of the San Diego area around 10 this morning. The owner called CHP when it happened within the hour because he had a GPS tracker on this stolen limo party bus. And so he was able to tell CHP and those officers where it was. It's picked up speed from the 80 miles per hour that it was driving on the 405. It got onto the 14 into the Acton area. And CHP has been behind it ever since getting that phone call from the owner. But again, a vehicle this size is hard to stop and poses other dangers to other drivers, and also if it was to tip over, and also a vehicle as a weapon. As again, we have Sergeant Darren Wine with us, but a vehicle of this size also a weapon in itself. Whether it swerves towards those officers trying to lay the spike strip or when it finally gets pulled over and comes to a stop.
Yeah. Interestingly, we've seen them going at high speeds now, slowed down significantly, moved over to the right, trailing behind that the big rig with the cargo container on it, wondering what the next move's going to be here. Fortunately, we have not seen him weaponize the vehicle at all in this chase. But yes, we have seen that become almost like a trend of late. Looks to me like onto the shoulder a little bit. Again, I've got a 30-second delay from what you're seeing here. Are you seeing a transition here or exiting?
He's exiting. Yep, exactly. Right now, and still behind that tractor trailer, and not really trying to get around it. It's coming to a stop as he just exited the 14 with the CHP close behind. Darren, officers, they won't take advantage of any kind of stop. They want to see, obviously, what this suspect will do. I'm not trying to get out and stop him if he is, up at a light or a stop sign, right?
No, especially with the vehicle of this size, that as we're just talking about, could be used as a weapon. He could put it in reverse and ram the the patrol unit while the unit, the officers standing outside, which could be very, very bad. Trying to get a look through the windshield now. does seem to be a male driver is what,
Yeah.
It's very fuzzy, but it does look like probably a male driver. But, now in some pretty tight traffic here, now finally getting around, we had the truck pull over for the pursuit to continue through.
Yeah, it is hard to see.
Street, this is where it gets really, really dangerous, especially with a vehicle of this size. And if it starts getting at these high speeds again on city streets, especially if it gets into more populated areas, really do not like seeing that.
Oh, absolutely right. It's been on the freeway wide open for the most part. But yeah, you mentioned city streets. I can imagine this going through some narrow, car-lined streets. And it's in the desert now, so there's not much in terms of homes or neighborhoods at the moment. What got off the 14? I'm going to try to figure out what is this frontage road, this road that he's now on.
It almost looks like it's another highway. It's obviously not a freeway, but looks like it's a pretty like more of a highway.
Yeah. Oh, just rammed right into the back of a driver. Yep, swerved across the lanes after that collision with a driver. So just out of control there, and it just couldn't slow down, as maybe that driver had braked or stopped in front of him, hearing the sirens from the police officers. Oh, okay. So officers are out. We have the owner of Top Dog watching this with us as it unfolds. Sir, what's your name?
My name is Susie Lightsky.
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. Yes, we're looking at your stolen limo party bus, and you guys were able to alert officers because of the GPS tracker. We just saw it come to an end, or at least hopefully the end right now after it just crashed into another driver. Tell me, is your driver okay? The employee? Oh, the door's opening.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is all unfolding as I'm talking to you now.
Is it a car?
Oh, it's a little noisy. Go ahead. Susie. Okay, Susie, the owner of the Top Dog. Go ahead, Susie.
Hi.
I'm so sorry this happened to you. Is your driver okay, who this was stolen from?
Yes, he's okay.
Okay.
He's fine. He was just we're just hoping that this person stops soon.
It is. The driver, the suspect, is out, hands up, walking toward officers, following their commands to then get down. It's a woman. Wow. Okay.
It's a woman driver?
A woman Yeah, it was a woman, and she's backing toward officers. So this after she collided and crashed into the.
It just hit a car right now.
Yeah. Susie, tell me what happened this morning, what your driver was able to tell you.
He got out of the vehicle to go pick up his clients, and somebody jumped into the bus.
That quickly.
And took off with it. Yeah.
Wow. Have you had this happen before? I mean, these are, you have this whole fleet.
No, never had it.
Never. And you're in your 30 plus years of operating.
Yeah, well, I've only had it since 2020, but Russell was the owner for 30 plus years.
Wow.
And he's never had that happen to him either.
No. And I'm so glad your driver's okay, but shaken up, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. So it hit something.
Yeah, you're watching this too.
Yeah, we're watching right now.
Yeah, hit right into the back of a small sedan, small car here, and I'm sure they're going to be checking to see if that driver's okay. We're going to show the crash, what we just witnessed a few seconds ago. Right there, as soon as this person had exited right there off the 14 freeway and then gotten onto this other highway and didn't hit any other drivers after the crash, but swerved. She swerved across those other lanes.
It's a woman. Wow.
Okay, officer's going to scope out the rest of the bus here. But Susie, do you know? Was it just we're thinking the one woman? I mean, what else did the driver tell you? The employee?
He didn't even see who jumped in the bus and took off with it.
Wow, so quick. And they were going to pick up a client in Pacific Beach?
Yeah.
Wow. And who knows why, this woman would do this? This just always has us shaking our heads, and it's so dangerous, and what a danger it had posed to not only those officers, but all the other innocent drivers. So, Susie, thank you for the time. You're dealing with this, trying to get your limo bus back.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sweetheart.
Thank you, and take care. And again, I'm glad your employee is okay. And this just seemed to be a crime of opportunity, and that woman suspect jumping inside and stealing the bus out of San Diego.
Yes. Yep.